Now, new at 11, another potential expense for people who've been curbed after residents showed up and spoke out at a late city commissioner meeting.
The city of Decatur denied a resident-only parking zones at the cries of dozens of upset neighbors. Atlanta News First, Alani Latang is in Decatur tonight explaining why this ordinance just got voted down. Alani?
It got voted down, I believe, because public comment lasted 2 hours. Resident after resident speaking about how an amended ordinance that would make these resident-only parking a possibility for several areas across town. So after that, the board said, you know what, this is not the right fit for the city right now. So the ordinance that was being amended had designated 37 streets or parts of streets to be resident-only parking. Now, the annual permit would have cost people $25 for their first car, and then it would increase from there. There were reduced rates for low-income residents, but if it had been approved, the city would have hired a contractor who would have used a license plate reader to verify, and dozens of people spoke out today to the commissioners to say they're concerned about parking availability, but they felt that this new program would have been costly and would rather see parking decals and dashboards instead, something that you can reuse and wouldn't be linked to your license plate. So the city says their current ordinance right now for resident-only parking is not enforceable. City commissioners, including the mayor and mayor pro tem, spoke in opposition to amending that ordinance that would again put a permit on your license plate and cost you money. But they agreed better signage is needed, but they also said that any type of enforcement that they do imply will be a cost. So commissioners say they heard residents and feel this is not best for the city, plus saying that the cost may have been an inconvenience for several residents.
So it gets expensive. Yeah. And we want to be able to have mixed neighborhood. You know, we don't want to have, all rich white people who live here. And that's what it ends up being.
So commissioners said, again, they denied having that amended ordinance that would allow people to pay just to park outside of their own home. The city said that they'll come back at a later date to vote to rescind the current ordinance right now that, again, the city says has not been enforceable. Reporting live here in Decatur, I'm Alani Latang, Atlanta News First.